I wasn't pulling on it. I'm not going to do anything bad. I'm just trying to figure out. So is it just like glued on there?
Yeah.
Okay. What you just did is a lot worse than what I did.
Well, it's mine.
I thought we were.
School Huddle's live. We got the news pages live.
I thought we were brothers by choice. Now I'm realizing. So that it's mine thing. I mean.
So you're saying we're going to have to fight at least once for brothers now?
Oh, yeah, it's coming. Is there any other way?
Did you ever look in your car?
I looked all over. I looked under the seats. I looked in visors. I looked in the things in the back.
Oh, sick.
I did. I'm sorry, man. I didn't look behind the seats, though, because you were in the back seat, weren't you?
I was in my normal seat.
No, but I'm saying...
I was behind Chris on passenger.
That's what I'm saying. But I didn't look behind it. The only thing I was thinking, if you took your hat off, because a lot of times you wear them on your hat.
Yeah, I just remember. I just knew I put him in that press box because I told myself to take them off before I went up there, and then when I got up there, I was like, crap, because I put the headset on. So crap, they're up there. Hello, everybody.
Let me see here. Strive well.
We're live. Did we get a heads up?
Yep.
Okay. I'm the only one on YouTube's. Football season's over, and that's it.
What happened?
I'm the only one watching on YouTube's. It's like football season's over, and this breaks up with us.
I don't know we're going to do winter sports.
I mean, I guess we should have promoted that earlier in the year, didn't we?
Chris just got scared.
I had a basketball broadcast yesterday.
Why was Chris eyeballing me? He did the broadcast? Chris did?
Oh, no.
The other boys?
Other boys, yeah.
Oh, boy. Coming in on Chris's territory.
Mm-hmm. He went up there and hiked.
Huh?
Saw him hike. Went up there and hiked. Spot. Piss. Hiked. Good dog. Oh, Chris might have to leave. Bill, we got this.
Oh, yeah.
Welcome to the... Oh.
Where your mom works.
Oh, boy, that ain't good. Do you need to run out there? Remember, we're hot. When we start saying things.
One 192.
Facebooks. It's working on the Facebooks, Chris, just so you know.
Well, it must be a good Rick. I've got 4 or 5 messages now.
Dangerous.
All right. No comments. Oh, I need the.
Chris?
Yep.
There it goes.
Which one?
Fade to black was touched. Okay.
On, it's like a banana hat today.
I said it was a perfect hat. Oh, Chris?
Yeah.
I see your corner over there.
What's wrong?
Is over there on his side. Or is it my side? That's my side. There you go.
You like tall hats?
No.
Back in the 70s, late 70s, this is all everybody wore was tall hats.
Yeah.
Tall hats. A lot of times guys wore them like
That's
this.
how Grandpa wore them.
Guys wore them like this.
Grandpa wore it like this. He had it.
All right.
Let's all wear our hats like this tonight.
Guess I can just make sure.
There you go.
Is it Lance?
Little Lance Evans. Oh, boy.
Okay.
I'm going to say hi.
You said hi. You said hey.
Say hi. Okay. You leaving? I am. Got any love for Uncle Phil? I mean, hug it out? Or?
Is your mom downstairs already?
She's
Okay. Can you take that piece of paper down there with you? Yeah. Don't bend it.
Don't bend it.
Look like a hero.
It's got a very important signature
All
on
right,
there.
Cody. Thanks for messaging. We're going to have to do messages the old style on this one anyway. So, all right. Let's get started. Hello and welcome everybody to the High School Huddle. It is Wednesday, December 14th, 2022. We are presented by Generation Church. Thanks for tuning us in tonight, or if you're catching the replay, we appreciate that as well. Ronnie Phillips, Finnacles, Chris Evans with you. And the second week of state championships for football are officially in the books. We are now officially in the winter season. We'll talk about the winter sports, some of that here in a little bit, but the championships are concluded. We had the Class B, A, and 2A finals, and here in a few years, those schools or that classifications will be cut in half, and we'll have 3 more state champions. So whether they keep them on the same week or spread them out over 2 weeks, I'm not sure how that would work, but that's for decisions to be made later. But guys, get your thoughts on the state championships that were played this week. Of course, congratulations to Laverne, congratulations to Washington, and congratulations to Fairview.
Yep.
Ronnie?
Oh, another successful. I think they were good games. A lot of them were good games. Had a few blowouts, but a couple good games. But the one thing that I talk about is the home team always has the advantage in these places. Last year, it was 6-1 in favor of the home teams. This year, it was
you're saying that just
5-2. Yeah,
just because
it's just kind of weird that the home team always has the advantage. Well, they don't have the advantage, but
There's no home field advantage.
There's no home field advantage, but the home
line.
side would win it.
Yeah.
And I just thought it was kind of funny to see that. And McAllister was on the losing side of being on the home side the last 2 years. But overall, the games were fun, especially that Fairview game was really, really fun. Fairview Gore.
Good game.
Wish Gore's running back wouldn't have got out and got hurt in the second quarter, whatever it was. I think it would have been a little bit more of an interesting game, even though it was a very close game indeed. But the Cushing-Wagner game was probably my favorite game. It was very exciting. Walk-off field goal to win it. I mean, if you're the kicker, you don't get no better than that, does it? Win a state championship.
Yeah.
Just as a senior, do a walk-off, get the gold ball after that. And again, as we saw Bixby dominant, Carl Albert dominant, just kind of something we kind of expected out of those 2 games. And congratulations to Stillwater as well. First state championship since 1966, I believe. So, I mean,
67.
So, yeah, it's been a good run. It was a good 2 weeks for us.
But the games played this last week were very entertaining on the Saturday afternoon at UCO. Now, the Class B game kind of got away a little bit. It kind of got somewhat interesting over in Alva just because of the lightning delays.
Weather, yeah.
And it looked like Laverne just had to take a couple of knees and win the game, but they got delayed with 52 seconds left where it looked like they just need to take 2 knees. But instead, they come out and snap the ball, and, of course, the guy fumbles the football. And they go
Here
down,
we go.
They go down and score and get the 2-point conversion. Then it comes down to an onside kick.
Right.
And so Laverne, a little weird there.
Made it a little closer than it was.
Than it should have been. But Laverne gets some revenge back from losing earlier in the season. But yeah, they were one of the big favorites going into it, and they prevailed in the Class B.
Yeah, and I mean they're there all the time.
Yeah.
Right. But I for me, in this order, these were my favorite games this year. A, 2A, 4A, 3A, 6A2, 5A, 6A1.
Well, let's stay on track here on the Class A. Here are some of the highlights of that game. Yep. Again, this is Fairview taking on Gore. Gore had never been in a state championship game, have never won a state title, and there it goes. The computer has to think a little bit. But there's Jax Bernard on a 14-yard touchdown run, made it 7-0. But Gore, with 2 touchdowns in the first quarter, had a 14-7 lead. Here's one of them here, Gunnar Dozier, 54-yard touchdown run. Christian O'Connor kicks the field goal, and it's quickly tied 7-7. And here in a second, we'll see Noah Cooper. Here's another view of that deal.
Kid's fast.
And we'll talk about UCO and all that good stuff here in a few moments. But when we get these highlights on here, Noah Cooper, 17-yard touchdown run. Oh, here's his catch. Great catch.
Very good catch.
Good camera angle as well. And then here's that 17-yard touchdown run. Flip into the end zone. 14-7 at that time, but then Fairview, well, probably don't want to see this part if you're Fairview, but they're going to be a turnover here. Simply took it away, but Fairview's defense comes up big and holds Gore from scoring.
Could have went up 2 scores right there. I mean, really could have took control of the game right there. That was a big stop by Fairview to not to block that field goal, and then of course right here you see Gore gets the ball back on a punt, and they fumble it and give it right back, and that allows Fairview to come back down and score to tie the game up.
And here's a 16-yard touchdown pass, Austin Hauk to Jax Bernard, or from Austin Hauk with the 16-yard reception from Jax Bernard, and that tied the game up at 14-14. There's an outstanding catch there, and it's going to set up a 19-yard field goal by Jax Bernard, and it was 17-14 at the break.
Well, and I'll tell you, this was that game. It was so physical. This game was extremely, I think, the most physical game we had during the championship weeks. But it was entertaining. It was well played. It was well coached. It was just a great ball game.
Here's a 16-yard touchdown pass, Wyatt Merrill from Noah Cooper. And Gore back on top, 21-17 with 1:53 left in the third quarter. But here comes Fairview. Blake Perez, 2-yard touchdown run. Extra point was good. And Fairview up 24-21. But and here's a turn, just simply not jumping on the ball. You always see those live kicks.
And they squib kick it, but they squib kick it by kicking. It's kind of a weird, I mean, the way it looks is insane.
Goal line stand.
Big
right
goal
there.
line stand. Of course, this was
Dane Perryman, 4-yard touchdown pass from Noah Cooper. And now Gore's up 28-24 with 9:10 left in the ballgame.
with 99 yards on that drive to score.
Yeah, it was an impressive drive.
Well, that kid's a football player.
There's the winning touchdown. Blake Perez, 14-yard. Or is it here?
Yeah, right.
This is the 2-point conversion.
Two-point conversion, okay.
2-point conversion right here.
And that would be the final 32-28.
This was a big third down run to basically clinch right here. Got a first down. Does a great job sliding there to keep that clock running as soon as the ball gets set up.
He's just a really good football player, the Perez kid. Runs hard, runs tough, smart player.
That was a 4th down run, I believe.
Yeah, and Fairview wins it there for the first state championship for the first time since 1999. And a good friend, Tony Holt, is the superintendent of Fairview. Unable to attend, he was feeling ill, so couldn't be there, but I watched the broadcast on the network, and so congratulations to him. That's my one connection to Fairview. So,
well, a cool story because the Fairview coach, the quarterback of Fairview is his son, and I believe he's just a sophomore.
Sophomore, yeah.
But when the game was over, I tell you, just complete and utter joy. The son tackles his dad on the sideline.
Yeah, that was cool.
And they had a really cool moment on the sideline, and just really the small towns. And this isn't a dig on the big towns. It's completely just a compliment, but for the small town guys. But they're so excited to be on that stage and so excited for their kids to get that exposure.
It was, my opinion, the most rowdiest crowd we had was at Gore Fairview.
Yeah,
the whole town was there for both teams.
Gore was so loud.
I mean, you can you can hear them through our headsets, and it was just they were out there having a good time. I mean, it was a perfect football game there.
It really was, and a great game.
Yeah, and the total offensive yards, there's a difference of 9 yards between between two teams, 4 first downs difference between them. So the scoreboard, the stats, the game within the game were all very even.
Yeah, and the coaching jobs were both excellent jobs by the staffs, but the fans, while they were loud, they were amazingly polite and professional. I mean, they were kind even after the game. Of course, the Fairview fans are celebrating. The Gore fans are devastated.
Yeah.
But I had to walk through the Gore fans to get up, and they were all just conducted themselves first class. There was no nothing negative at all in that ball game.
Each team had their chances too.
They did.
I mean, they can both look. Gore can look back and if we've done this or that.
Well, like on that fumble where he stripped on the kickoff, if they punch that in, like Ronnie says, now they're up 2 scores. Momentum is big time on Gore's side now. And listen, Gore, you feel bad for them because they've had a heck of a year. Both these teams were 14-0 coming into the ball game, and one of them was going to win state title. The other one's going to have one loss and still get the silver ball, but which is a heck of an accomplishment. I think that'll be much more appreciated by the kids when they're a little older. But it's a great season for both teams.
Blake Perez, 36 carries, 166 yards, 2 touchdowns. Jake Bernard, 41 rushing yards, but also 13 of 25 passing for 128 yards with the 1 touchdown. And Noah Cooper in a losing effort, 21 carries, 90 yards, 1 touchdown. Threw the ball 12 of 18 for 160 yards and 2 touchdowns.
And Ronnie talked about it. If Gunner doesn't get hurt, that was the young man number 10 for Gore that scored.
He's fast.
He's so fast, and you saw it on that play. Fairview really didn't have an answer for that speed, and the kid gutted it out. Boy, he tried so hard. I wouldn't be a bit surprised if that arm's not in the cast right now.
Yeah, I think last time we saw him is that they had that forearm wrapped up really well, and then he gets hit with it and immediately drops the ball, and it kind of does a little bit of fumble. And I think that's last time we saw him.
When he was getting in he became basically a decoy at that point.
Yep.
But when he went to the ground, most times he would have jammed that arm down and caught himself and probably got another 3-4 yards or maintained his balance. And he didn't even try to put his arm down. So gutsy effort by the young man. It's unfortunate when injuries occur like that in any situation, but for darn sure in a state championship game, that'll be something they'll be talking about for a long time.
Yep. Fairview state champions first time since '99. Gore still in for that first state championship. Now they won the powerlifting we learned here on the huddle last week, but that's not a OSSA sanction, so it's not official. It is. It's however you want to look at it. It's not when you look up Gore on the OSSA website, they're not going to have any state championships on there. But they did win powerlifting.
Sweet uniforms by both teams too.
Yeah. It was a classic matchup in collars and uniforms. That's
congratulations, Fairview.
The other game played earlier that afternoon. That was the last high school football game of the season there. And the game played earlier, the 2A state championship. Washington beat Millwood 17-14. It was 7-6 at halftime. And Millwood had led Washington 14-7 after 3 quarters. But Washington scores 10 points in the fourth quarter to win that one. And I want to get this one out of the way so we can talk about the game. But the thing that I remember from this one was combined 22 penalties, 175 yards.
Yeah, the third team was very active.
Yeah.
They were very active.
Whether they were right or wrong, I don't know, but they were there.
Yeah, I'm not saying. Yeah, none of us are saying that, but it was a lot of penalties, and the reality is that penalties are part of the game, but it was hard for everybody to get in the flow of the teams, a broadcast team, and you couldn't really get any because you were constantly waiting for penalties to be called.
Yeah.
But the White Hat was even going, Oh,
Yeah. But you know the thing that stood out to me, I know we're going to break it down, but before the game ever started, the thing that stood out for me, because you think 2A, and I think a lot of times people think smaller class means smaller kids, not as athletic. That is not the case. Gore, we've seen a ton of 5A schools all year. Gore looked like a 5A team, size-wise, even bigger than most 5A. I know where we live, and we ain't got nobody looking like number 20 and number 23 and number 3 and number 9. We got no cats that look like those guys. I mean, those guys stood out physically and were really good football players.
Take a look at some of the Class 2A highlights again. Washington and Millwood on a Saturday. I love day games. Just simply love day games. And first touchdown going to Cole Scott on a 2-yard touchdown run. Mason Thomas kick made it 7-0. It'd be there for a little while. Actually, Millwood would score pretty quick on their opening drive. That was their opening drive for Washington. Millwood on their opening drive here. I think they're going to.
That's a missed 2-point conversion there.
Okay, yeah. So Ricky Hunt had a 2-yard touchdown.
This kid right here, 6 from Millwood. Man, he was all over the place. Just disrupting play after play. Didn't get credit for the sack there, but he was the first one to him.
Just a sophomore.
Man, he was all over the place.
Yeah.
Washington, second state championship. They won back in 1996, and if you would ask me without me having a look, I thought they would have 6 or 7 in the trophy case. Of course, this is their third state championship to play in, but have gotten there many times, just unable to capture titles until obviously on Saturday afternoon.
Well, and so athletic. Both sides, Millwood's loaded with athletes, and I think the young running back for Millwood is going to Ohio, University of Ohio to play, and there's a lot of college football players represented on that field. The player of the game was number 7. Here's the Ohio commit we're talking about right here.
That was a big play there. That was a third down, I believe.
Such a good running back, but a lot of kids walking the field that just look the part.
Here's a 15-yard touchdown pass. William Mays bringing it in from his quarterback Turnbull. Made it 14-7, 2-point conversion. Is going to be good. I think we have the highlight of the 2-point conversion. Yeah, here it is. Little Wildcat package, and there is Mr. Ohio. Make it 14-7 with 5:50 to play in the third quarter. That'd be the last time Millwood would score. And here's a 25-yard field goal by Mason Thomas to pull within 4.
Great coaching decision, too.
I thought so.
Yeah, I mean, you thought they might have went for it being that close down, but it turns out as the game plays on, when they go and score that game-winning touchdown, I'm like, man, that was a really good decision to go for it, for the kick instead of going for it.
Here's an 8-yard touchdown pass. Nate Roberts to Major Cantrell. Kick would be good. We get another look at this one here to show you how close his feet were. Makes it 17-14 with the extra point. Ooh, game of inches.
And that kid's 6'3", about 210, 215, a sophomore.
Yeah. So Washington, Millwood, I think Millwood's got 6 state championships, and we knew how athletic they were, and both teams, again, outside of the penalties, whether they were warranted or not, I'm sure they were. I don't think you just throw flags in a championship to be throwing flags, but 17-14, and outside of the penalties, it was a fun ball game.
Yeah, it was a good ball game. I mean, that's why I had them ranked as my second favorite. I thought from what the play on the field was, right? I mean, the flow of the game was a little bumpy, but that had nothing to do with the kids on the field. Yeah. I mean, they were, man, they got after it. It was a physical game too. Yep. Me being a small town kid growing up, I remember I looked at it and I was talking to one of the Washington guys. Comes up and says, "What do you think?" One of the dads that was down setting up the run out says, "What do you think?" I said, "Well, I'm gonna give you my uneducated." And I've won. I love my line. I've never won a football game in my life as a coach. But your kids are down here with no sleeves on, no shirts, and Millwood kids have hoodies on. So I think you guys are going to win.
Deep thinking.
Deep thinking. But, boy, I tell you, that's a game that could have went either way. I mean, either team could have came out, just like in the A game, either team could have came out as the state champions. And, again, well-coached ball game. Coach Franklin with Millwood, of course, has won state titles and really runs a good program at Millwood, and just a great football game. Everybody that attended Saturday, they got their money's worth.
Yeah, I thought Washington did a really good job on Ricky Hunt. Ricky, 14 carries, 39 yards with that one touchdown. Did have 3 catches for 43 3 yards. But Cole Scott, 33 carries, 113 rushing yards, a touchdown, and he was a big part of that. Of course, Major Cantrell was 50% passing for 129 yards and a touchdown, was sacked one time. So I thought Washington played pretty good against all those great athletes.
They play great, and they're tough, and with all the penalties, what I'm about to say, some people are going to say, how can you say that? I thought they were disciplined overall. Yeah. And there weren't penalties. There weren't the kind of penalties like you'd correlate to being undisciplined, right? They were just a lot of
pass
if it's any indication, each band got warned.
Yes.
Yeah, there you go.
It's any indication what happened.
Yeah.
Both bands got warned and asked not to play when the other team had the ball in their hands. So, the crew did a good job. Listen, they're a good crew, but they were definitely not going to let anything go without their 2 cents.
One thing I liked about the game the most is that in the previous week, because we saw a lot of points scored, we saw Carl Albert score a lot of points. Obviously, the 3A game scoring 199 points or whatever it was. Just kidding.
Same.
But Millwood or Washington goes down, scores, and then Millwood goes down, score. I'm just like, oh, here we go again, another high potent offense going on. But finally, the defense is set in, so it was actually real fun to see those defenses actually work and get after each other. So I did appreciate the defense on that.
Well, and on the Washington, I want to say this again. There are 2 defensive ends, and it was one's name was Milner, number 20. And I'm trying to remember number 23's name, but they were bookends, and I mean almost bookends in every way. I think Milner's maybe an inch taller than the other young man, but boy, I'm telling you, these kids were physical specimens. I mean, it was down on the sideline. I'm down there watching, in the pregame.
23 is Nathan Spalding.
Spalding and Milner. And they were special. And then the other kid that really stood out to me is their center. Played center and nose guard, number 53.
Was it 54?
No, center was 53.
Okay, I don't have a 53.
Maybe it was.
I got a 54 and 55, if that helps.
Okay, well, maybe 54, but
they're center.
Yeah, they're center. But great player, going to Friends University, as is the Academy Outdoor and Sports most valuable player of that game, number 7, the running back. Help me out, Chris.
Cole Scott,
tough kid. He's going to Friends University as well. Big number 20 Milner is being looked at by a lot of D1 guys. He's got 3 or 4 offers and trying to figure out where he's going to go. But I tell you, just a lot of really number 5 stood out for Washington. Of course, Millwood had athletes everywhere. That one wide receiver was, you could just tell, is a freak of nature. Number 7, I believe it was, for Millwood. He's the one they threw the ball to at the end of the game. And I cannot remember his name.
No.
But he was amazing.
Jaden Nickens.
Yeah, just an amazing talent. And then number 6, and I apologize for not having these young men's name. They deserve,
for Millwood?
Yes.
Okay. Cameron Carter.
Cameron Carter. He was the one that was everywhere. And remember, guys, he started cramping up in the 3rd quarter. Mm-hmm. And there was a long stretch where he wasn't on the field. But a tough kid, just a sophomore, got back on the field. If Millwood had won the game, he would have been my player of the game. Because, I mean, he was just everywhere. I mean, disruptive, in the backfield, making tackles all over, can run, physical kid. He's got a lot of football ahead of him. That's
the recap of BA and 2A. We're up against our first break. Come back. We'll take an overall look at the state championships, the best team, best player, all that good stuff. Also coming up, we'll discuss some legal stuff. Don't you love it when politicians get involved with high school athletics?
I saw something on that today.
We'll talk about that. Yeah. And
Chris is suing somebody.
Is UCO the home for high school football? We'll talk about that as well. This is the High School Huddle presented by Generations Church.
At Generations Church, we exist to love God, love people, and serve both well. We're a multi-generational, multicultural church that believes in being a light to our city and our region. At Generations, we don't believe that church can be put in a box. We're a church that accepts all people from all walks of life, young, old, rich, and poor, and you will feel welcome at Generations. Join us at 10 a.m. every Sunday at 2524 West Noble in Guthrie, America. You can also join us at generationsguthrie.online.church.
Today I'm sharing Golden Chick with the world.
Are you ready to taste Golden Chick for the first time?
100% tenderloin, that's where the golden tenders come from.
Marinated for 24 hours.
It is amazing. Then we also got the rolls, made fresh.
It feels like they were just baked.
You know why it feels that way? They were.
Every time I go, I like to get extra rolls, so I love it.
We are being kind of photobombed right now by the one and only Clucky.
Have you met Clucky the chicken? Don't get too starstruck. He's just a regular guy. One taste, and you're golden. He's on Tender. That's like a chicken dating app.
Sometimes you need immediate care and can't get in to see your doctor during regular hours. With Mercy Convenient Care in Guthrie, you can walk in without an appointment and get the medical attention you need at a lower cost and with shorter waiting time than your local emergency room. The Mercy Convenient Care is located at 2919 South Division. For any concerns, call 405-282-6301. Services are provided by Mercy Hospital, Logan County. Choose Guthrie. Choose Mercy. Aspen Roofing is a family-owned roofing company with more than 20 years of experience and achievements across Oklahoma. Aspen Roofing takes pride in the personal service we provide on each job, and we strive to maintain the highest level of quality while offering our customers a reasonable price. It is our commitment to help you understand the process of getting a new roof from start to finish. Call Robbie Hudson for a free roofing estimate at 405-562-0026.
Exxon was founded by two combat-proven veterans to help businesses grow from mediocre to exceptional. We know from experience that your culture and trust throughout the organization drive superior performance. Most business owners focus on the urgent rather than the important. They are just struggling to survive. The team at Exxon helps owners identify challenges, build solutions, and focus on growth. Do you trust your team? Does your team trust you? If not, we can help. We are Exxon.
Hey, you in the third row. Yes, you. When was your last dental checkup? Dr. Lewis Turney and his staff provide dental care in a fun, relaxing environment. Still not convinced? Prefer to sleep through your appointment? No problem. We can do that too. Our staff can ensure you have a relaxing experience no matter what. Got kids? Hey, so do we. Come see what all the moms are talking about. Our kid-friendly staff loves to provide care to even the tiniest of teeth. Give us a call today. We've got the whole family covered.
Give Dr. Lewis Turney a call at 282-7600.
Welcome back to the High School Huddle, presented by Generations Church.
Welcome back. Second segment of the High School Huddle. Ronnie Phillips, Nichols, Chris Evans with you. Appreciate you checking us out. High School Huddle Facebook page, Guthrie News page, Facebook page, and of course on Second Banana Media on YouTube. And if you
the
YouTubes, yes. And if you want to check us out on a podcast platform, you can always do that wherever you get your podcasts. I promise you, the High School Huddle will be there. Got the comments working here. Just had to turn it off, turn it back on. It works there. Josh Seabolt, we had him here last week with Generation Church. Second banana hat is legit. Thank you. We appreciate that. More of that coming hopefully soon. Cody Knox watching on YouTube. Evening, Chris, Phil, and Ronnie. Thank you for that. Matt Hattie says listening from the traffic jam on 35 and 2nd Street.
It's been there all day.
Yeah, there was a wreck over on Covell or Danforth. I got the email from ODOT saying it was down to one lane, but I haven't got the email saying it's open now.
So this is the one wreck that happened earlier today?
I think so.
Boy, it must have been a bad situation.
Chase Myers, good to hear from you, Chase. Hope I didn't miss it already, but how about Fairview, guys? I think he's talking about Ronnie and I picking Gore to win that game. And
I had Fairview to win, but I wasn't allowed to pick.
Yeah, he had Gore to win.
No, I didn't.
Off the record.
No, I didn't.
That's cap.
You have no video proof of that.
But yeah, and looking back on it, I didn't feel bad about picking Gore.
No.
It was a evenly balled team.
Yeah.
I thought played good. Gore had their chances.
Sure did.
But if you did miss it, Chase, I know you're giving us a hard time. We appreciate that. But if you did miss it, you can go. You can rewind. If you're on Facebook, so you're gonna have to wait till afterwards, or you can go to YouTube, rewind it right now because you can do that. But I appreciate you checking us out, Chase. And this Mike kind of gets into this a little bit, and we'll discuss it here. I know it cuts him off here, but. Mike says, Xavier Robinson, Player of the Year. Need to get a ball signed by him. Love watching these type of players in high school. Doesn't even have to be football. It can be any sport, but to see their hard work and determination is truly amazing. Like Rattler, now playing against my Notre Dame, like Sam Bradford from high school. So thank you, Mike, for that. But Yeah. Best overall team, guys, Bixby?
Yeah.
Yeah.
All year.
Yeah. Except for one Friday night.
Well, you know what? You play enough, it happens.
Bixby, Oklahoma.
They hadn't lost in 118 years, and it finally happened.
Best player.
Okay, that's
of
tough.
all the state championships.
Of all the okay, for the year or for what we saw? The one game?
You pick. You decide. Oh, by the way, an update to the traffic jam on I-35 near Edmond. Matt Hattie says, just past the wreck, still one lane. We'll be there a bit longer. So
wow. Okay. So if you're heading northbound on I-35, if you can, get off and get an alternative route back home. But
if you're watching the replay, don't worry about it.
You know, if I had to pick, gosh, this is weird, hard for me.
And you have the best view because you were able. Our heads were in monitors.
Yeah,
so I couldn't watch as close.
And I had so much fun on the sideline. I really did. It was awesome. And the equipment. What's the IT guy's name at UC?
Caleb.
Caleb, thank you.
Yes.
You changed my life. Changed our lives.
Yeah.
Next year we're dialed in. Mm-hmm. But if I had to pick the best I'm going to do it this way. If I had to pick the best performance, it would be the quarterback for 3A that threw for over 600 yards.
Kirk Francis?
Yeah, it'd be Mr. Francis.
Well, he set a record.
Yeah, well, yeah. and he's going to have the best story of anybody when he's my age. He'll be able to He'll be able to sit around and go, you know what? I was in the state championship. I threw for 600 yards.
626.
Threw for 626 yards. I think he had 5 touchdown passes. Is that right?
That's right.
5 or 6.
5 or 6. 6.
I think he had 6. I had 6 touchdown passes.
Of course, it'd be 8 when he gets your age.
And 12. And we lost. That's what he's going to get to tell us.
I threw more yards than Heritage Hall had combined.
Total offense.
Yeah.
And we lost. But anyway, that would be the best performance. I think the best player that I personally saw. It's 2 guys for me, and I can't pick one. Robinson obviously stands out, Mr. Robinson, and it's the young man we were just talking about from Millwood on defense.
Was it Nickens or was that the receiver?
No, that was the receiver.
Okay. Number 6.
Number 6, the sophomore. He really, really, really stood out to me. I mean. I'm not saying he's going to go on and be a major D1 player, although I do think he will play big-time college football.
Cameron
Carter. That young man stood out.
Second tackler.
Yeah, and there were some guys that would be there close for me. You know, the Faulkner kid from Heritage Hall had a heck of a game. A lot of good defensive players. And then Bixby, is just a machine, so there's tons of guys there, but I'm going to go. That's what best player. I'd go with best performance overall. See, I have a hard time because I think the guy that's going to have the best college career is probably the kid from Bixby that's going to Arkansas. I think he's got a chance to be.
Luke Has.
Is it Has?
Yes.
Yep. Okay.
It has been. That's how I remember him.
Luke Has.
Everyone says Has or Haas. But
Dylan probably had a better game in that championship game, I think.
Yeah, no, and you know what? If you go back and look at their high school career, of course, Dylan's going to Arkansas as well, play football.
Well, guess who's in their living room the other day?
Who's that?
Nick Saban.
They got a nice.
Well, maybe not, but they got a pretty good connection to Arkansas, so I still expect them to be at Arkansas, but.
I think signing day is a week from today.
But Mr. Saban being in your office does get your attention.
That's kind of a big deal.
Didn't send the coordinator, didn't send the position coach.
Well, they did, and him.
Oh, yeah, said, you know what, boys, we're all going.
All hands on deck.
This is a 2-for-1. This is a 2-for-1.
Tight end coach of Saban, he had the nice red sports jacket.
Yeah, what a good and what a cool experience for those 2 brothers and that entire family.
Nick Saban to fly into.
Oh, are you kidding me?
Yeah.
Right now, Nick Saban's not sending anybody to check on you right now if you're not legit.
Yeah.
And he sure isn't going himself.
Yeah.
It's not easy to get from Alabama to Tulsa, Oklahoma. I mean, there's a connecting flight there, kid. Well, there probably isn't because he's on a private jet. Never mind. He flew direct in. But
some donor took care of it.
Yeah, some donor took care of it. But he's probably the best player in the state. Of course, you guys know I think McCarty's a stud. I think Chris, you think he's a great football player, but you're not. And this isn't a negative. You're not as high on him at the next level as I am.
Right. I mean,
and I don't, but that's not a dig.
No, I'm saying Bradford was a 3-star.
Correct.
Yeah.
Correct. So, and the truth is, it'll probably be some kid that we haven't even mentioned that'll go on and win the Outland or the, be the stud.
The perfect example on recruiting is like, you brought in 3 guys, but they're all 5 stars, and there was the other guy named Marvin Mims. Well, the guy named Marvin Mims had a better career at OU than those 15 stars combined.
And it's projected to be a late first, early second round draft pick.
Yeah.
So,
I think, am I taking this away, best play of the state championships?
Best play?
Yeah. It should be automatic, I thought. And
the field goal?
Yeah.
Yeah, the winning field goal.
Well, they're talking about a great story there.
Oh, incredible story. This young man, Coach Condit, told me in the post-game interview, he said the kid's a senior. He had the worst knee injury I've ever seen. And he had 2 good kickers. And this says a lot about Coach Condit. When it was on the line, think about this. State championship's on the line. He went with the kid because he said basically what he was saying is they're basically the same kicker, right? But the other young man had the attempts earlier. And when the game was on the line, he trotted the senior out. And I think he did that as much. And he said it. He said he's a great kid. He works so hard. And I got goosebumps just reliving the story. But for a coach to recognize that and to give him an opportunity on what was that young man's biggest stage to date, and probably will be the biggest stage athletically he will ever be on. 5 ligaments damaged.
Destroyed.
Just crazy. Yeah. I mean, the kid, he looks like a RoboCop on the knee brace he has on. I mean, it's insane. But it's just an incredible story. But, that's probably the best. That's probably the play.
So that's the best play. Probably the biggest upset would still be Wagner?
Oh, I think so.
Yeah, no doubt.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, and your heart breaks for those Cushing kids because, they just were just an offensive juggernaut. Even though Gore set the all-time scoring record in their final game. For 11-man. Which is saying something because there's been some explosive offensive teams.
And the coach has done it twice. I think he did.
He was part of the one that had the record
over at Vienne, I think it was.
Yeah, but just and I'd say the play that made me go. Excuse me. Obviously, the field goal is the biggest play, but the play that made me go, "Holy smokes, what an effort!" was probably for me that strip by Gore on that kickoff. You just
ripped it away.
That was just sheer determination because it wasn't like the kid was reaching down trying to pick the ball up or it was one of those deals. He had the ball secured running down the field, and it was secured. You go back and look at that. He wasn't like he was flopping.
Yeah.
That was a tremendous play by the young man from Gore.
Anything that I'm leaving out? Those are the ones that I just came off the top of my head. But
there was a lot of them, and you got to go back. I don't think DeQuazy gets enough credit for what he does for Carl Albert and the effect he has on that team. I don't think, our good friend, Coach Terry Bennett Jr. In Guthrie.
1685.
I sent a text out. I wanted a coach's perspective. He had faced Carl Albert, said, who are we missing? We got the obvious ones, Robinson, DeQuazy, these guys. He immediately said 1685, and of course, once he did it, we pay attention to it, and you're going, yeah, that's right. The coach's perspective was spot on.
Big men too. And I don't know if this is a popular one, but I think it's an important one just because Bixby, there's so many different players and all that stuff. But Connor Kirby, the quarterback, he was back and forth. As a year ago, it was a 2-quarterback system. Started the same way this year with Austin Havens, but he won that job, and everything went through him. I don't know how many rushing yards, but it was quite a bit. But he was kind of the nucleus of that offense, whether it was passing to Has or running ball. He was a big part of that. So
hell of a player.
He kind of gets lost just because of all the headlines that come out of Bixby. But I think Connor Kirby should deserve.
What
some
an offense that Bixby has, man! All the motion, all the movement. Oh golly!
Yeah. Well, and they're so disciplined, guys.
Yeah.
When they're out, everything they do is with purpose. Everything. From the way they come out, the way they line up, the way they stretch.
They're up 40 points, and they weren't holding anything back. Onside kick after a penalty. They were getting after it.
But like we talked about after that loss to Jinx in the regular season finale, they were playing mad. They were still playing mad. I mean, they're by far the best team in Oklahoma.
Yeah, no doubt. And Lauren Montgomery, of course, if you have all the athletes like he does, you can get a lot creative in your play calling. With the window dressing, a 3-minute shift. We're shifting everyone over here. We were just running over the right tackle.
But I don't think
he does a whole bunch of good stuff. I mean, he's excellent. I watched his 2014 state championship game the other day. The first one they had won, and it was still a lot of the same stuff that they're doing. It's pretty amazing.
Well, and that's what I was going to say. I don't think he gets enough credit for managing that program.
Yep.
Because of all the talent.
Because if they would have lost, like he had all that, you always hear from schools all over the state. You go to this school. We would have won it back in 1994 if our coach knew it. Yeah.
Well, and I got to say this, it kind of puts an end to that debate about you got to be one of the big boys, one of the big classes. Because as a school, I think, are they the second largest in 6A1?
Bixby?
Yeah,
they're the smallest.
That's what I meant to say.
Yeah, smallest. Yeah.
So, all that talk about, Broken Arrow's got 5,000 kids.
Yeah.
Bixby's the smallest in 6A1, and they just dog-walked everybody that they played. So
it's interesting.
It's
another thing I saw this weekend that we need to get another break because we got to talk about some stuff here in our next segment. In our third segment, we'll talk a little bit of the winter sports and put a bow on.
Go ahead. I'm sorry. I didn't want to forget.
Don't let me forget. I got it. Okay, go ahead.
I just don't want to forget to talk about UCO.
Well,
we're going to talk about in this segment. That's going to be part of it?
Yeah,
okay,
that's part
of
it.
Very
good. He didn't confirm or deny, but remember when David Alexander got fired over at Broken Arrow?
Yep.
I wonder if Lauren Montgomery took that job, what Broken Arrow could be with 5,000 kids and him being the head coach. And he wouldn't say if he was or asked to be the coach or turned it down or wasn't asked. I don't know, but that would be talking about switching it around.
But is there a better job in Oklahoma than Bixby right now?
Well, they got facilities coming soon.
Yeah. And listen, if you're a stud,
but if Broken Arrow had won 7 of the last 8 or 8 or whatever it is, they would be upgrading their facilities. Bixby needs to upgrade.
They do, but Coach Montgomery is an absolute outstanding football coach and football manager of the team.
We're the same age, by the way.
Really?
Yep, same age.
No, he was 52.
That's Cap.
Oh.
All right, we're going to take our second time out of the show. Coming up, politics, getting involved in high school athletics, what they're looking to do. We've heard it before. We'll see what happens.
Chris and Ronnie, they're going to have a lot to say. I'll stay out of this next one.
Yeah, stay out of that. And then, is UCO the right home for high school state championships? We'll talk about that and a whole lot more. This is the High School Huddle presented by Generations Church.
Aspen Roofing is a family-owned roofing company with more than 20 years of experience and achievements across Oklahoma. Aspen Roofing takes pride in the personal service we provide on each job, and we strive to maintain the highest level of quality while offering our customers a reasonable price. It is our commitment to help you understand the process of getting a new roof from start to finish. Call Robbie Hudson for a free roofing estimate at 405-562-0026.
Exxon was founded by 2 combat-proven veterans to help businesses grow from mediocre to exceptional. We know from experience that your culture and trust throughout the organization drive superior performance. Most business owners focus on the urgent rather than the important. They are just struggling to survive. The team at Exxon helps owners identify challenges, build solutions, and focus on growth. Do you trust your team? Does your team trust you? If not, we can help. We are Exxon.
Hey, you in the third row. Yes, you. When was your last dental checkup? Dr. Lewis Turney and his staff provide dental care in a fun, relaxing environment. Still not convinced? Prefer to sleep through your appointment? No problem. We can do that too. Our staff can ensure you have a relaxing experience no matter what. Got kids? Hey, so do we. Come see what all the moms are talking about. Our kid-friendly staff loves to provide care to even the tiniest of teeth. Give us a call today. We've got the whole family covered.
Give Dr. Lewis Turney a call at 282-7600.
Today I'm sharing Golden Chick with the world. Are you ready to taste Golden Chick for the first time? 100% tenderloin. That's where the golden tenders come from. Marinated for 24 hours. It is amazing. And we also got the rolls, made fresh.
It feels like they were just baked.
You know why it feels that way? They were.
Every time I go, I like to get extra rolls, so I love it. Mm-hmm.
We are being kind of photobombed right now by the one and only Clucky. Have you met Clucky the chicken? Don't get too starstruck. He's just a regular guy. One taste, and you're golden.
Golden Chick.
He's on Tender. That's like a chicken dating app.
Sometimes you need immediate care and can't get in to see your doctor during regular hours. With Mercy Convenient Care in Guthrie, you can walk in without an appointment and get the medical attention you need at a lower cost and with shorter waiting time than your local emergency room. The Mercy Convenient Care is located at 2919 South Division. For any concerns, call 405-282-6301. Services are provided by Mercy Hospital, Logan County. Choose Guthrie. Choose Mercy.
At Generations Church, we exist to love God, love people, and serve both well. We're a multi-generational, multicultural church that believes in being a light to our city and our region. At Generations, we don't believe that church can be put in a box. We're a church that accepts all people from all walks of life, young, old, rich, and poor, and you will feel welcome at Generations. Join us at 10 a.m. every Sunday at 2524 West Noble in Guthrie, America. You can also join us at generationsguthrie.online.church.
Welcome back to the High School Huddle, presented by Generations Church.
We can be fixing. Welcome back, High School Huddle. Alrighty, Phillips, Phil Nichols, Chris Evans with you. Well. Appreciate everyone checking us out again. Second Banana Media, and then on the High School Huddle Facebook page. That's where you can find us right there. So be sure to like, subscribe, share, all that good stuff. Especially if you're on your phone right now, just hit that share. It makes it really, really easy on Facebook. And then we always invite you to go back to YouTube because you can go back and watch all the previous shows in the past if you ever want to get that information. If we picked Carl Albert or Coweta, I think we all picked Carl Albert that day.
What's that?
Carl Albert, Coweta.
The first game?
Yeah.
I think I had Coweta.
So let's go ahead and get this out of the way in case I forget. Here are the final standings this season.
Get there. Huh?
I was almost got you in the win column.
No, let's break this down. You are now not the only undefeated picker for a week.
Well,
no. Is there a zero in the loss department?
Phil.
What?
Oops, sorry, Ronnie.
Yeah.
You were 5-0 the week before that. Just
so 2 of them. Now go back.
No,
go back for a second. No.
We based that off of 10 games, not one game.
Go back. Let's just break this down.
Okay, let me break it down first, and then you can go that. You were 79%. I was 73%, and Ronnie was 64%.
If you're shooting,
you're not eligible to play next week.
Well, if you're shooting from the 3-point line, that's amazing. 64% behind the arc.
You're not eligible to play next week.
Well, why not?
Because you're on the down list. You got a 64.
That's passing, ain't it?
No, you got to have at least a C.
Where in the rules does that say that?
Well, that's what's right, Ronnie.
That's not a bad first year. That's not a bad inaugural year, right?
What inaugural?
Inaugural. Not bad. I mean, again, last several weeks I had to take a risk. Had to do what I had to do to try to get back into this.
You mean the last 12 weeks of the year?
No. Last 6 weeks.
Oh, 6.
So
wait.
What did I miss? No, you're still on it.
Go
Okay.
back.
So I had to run an errand.
So let's break this down. I had the highest winning percentage. I was the only one to get to 100 wins on the year. I absolutely dog-walked Ronnie. I had an 8-game spread on Chris, and I had 2 undefeated weeks, Ronnie.
You're counting 1-0 and 5-0?
I picked 1, and I won 1.
That does not count.
And I won 5.
That does not count.
It's undefeated.
Does not count.
Undefeated.
Does not count.
It's undefeated.
Chris, for y'all at home, this really eats at Chris that Phil got the win.
That's why he's not in here right now.
Yeah.
He's acting like this isn't a big deal. He's acting like he's doing business over here, like there's breaking news or something. Oh, boy.
No, but it was good. It was a good run. Good first season. Now, are we going to do this for? Are we going to do this for basketball too?
Chris is back. Okay, Chris. What we do? Chris, go back.
Every time I come back,
you got to sit through.
I had
this.
to run errand. Okay.
No, you got to sit through this.
All right.
I had 2 undefeated
Let him
weeks.
talk and be done.
I won 100 games. Only one to do that, and I won the percentage also.
Congratulations. Move on.
First time ever in the High School Huddle history.
It's the only time I tried.
Oh.
And those are 3 firsts. That's never been done before.
Just for the record, me and Chris talked about this preseason. We were going to let Phil win.
That's cap. You might do that. Chris would never. He's going to lose sleep. He's lost sleep over me winning.
Zero sleep.
That's not true. That's cap.
Okay. Looks like
champion. Second banana, no more. Okay, I'm done.
You done?
This is going to be
no, I'm done. I'm done.
No,
I'm done. I'm done.
All right.
I'm done. Champion. Now I'm done.
Okay. All right. Well, a bill has been filed to possibly run in the state legislature of Oklahoma.
Is only a bill. Okay. Sorry. Go ahead. Sorry.
This is going to be a segment by itself.
Okay, go ahead. Got excited. You know, the kids, we did the cartoon. This is a bill. It's only a bill. Setting up on Capitol Hill. Okay, I'm done now. Go ahead. All right.
3, 2, 1. Bill filed to potentially be heard on the state legislature here in Oklahoma on school athletics with the Oklahoma Secondary Schools Activity Association. It was released on Wednesday, December 14th. Representative Randy Randleman, a Republican from Eufaula, that he plans to file a bill requiring the OSSAA or other entities organizing secondary school athletics and activities competitions at the state levels to develop a more fair system between all restricted and unrestricted enrollment schools.
Tell us when we can go.
Randleman heard from many superintendents who believe the current system to be unfair because private schools can turn down students, whereas public schools take each student that appears on their enrollment. Under the bill, all schools would be separated by the total number of students, whether they have restricted or unrestricted enrollment. Randleman says the bill would not remove anyone from the OSSAA. He thanked the Stroud superintendent. He thanked the superintendent from Stigler and for their work to bring the issue to his attention. So here we go again. We've heard this many, many times. The end result, I'll get it warmed up a little bit. I'll let you guys care. But the end result, attorneys will win at the end of the day.
100%. You know what? To his point that public schools have to take kids, I feel horrible. I'm sure the coaching staff at Carl Albert is so disappointed they had to take Reed DeQuazy and Xavier Robinson. They just hated that they had to take those 2 players. Ronnie, aren't they upset about that?
I heard they were very
just
upset.
Devastated. And I'm sure that we had a young man that was a really good athlete here in junior high. You know, he may or may not be that in high school. I'm sure Choctaw was just devastated that they had to take him, right? And I'm sure that Union was just devastated that they had to take Shaker. Just tore up about it. It's just not fair, Chris.
Yeah.
It's just not fair.
That is very few examples.
There's many.
And that's just football.
That's just football.
We haven't gotten into baseball. We haven't gotten into basketball. I used to be, the back and forth with the private school and the public school. I used to see it, but now that I've seen more and more, it's not just private schools that have advantages if you want to create the advantages. In the OSSAA or the Washington SSA or the Idaho SSA or the Rhode Island SSA, they can chase all they want to, but if they play within the rules, that is what it is. And you just can't be making up. I guess you could, but you're going to be chasing it all the time.
Chris, it's just not fair.
Yeah. And, I can see where it is frustrating.
Sure.
Like Stigler. I mean, they've had some great teams over the year, and their superintendent has gone to a representative to get this filed.
Yeah.
And I understand. I mean, they beat Hall and Hall this year, which they hadn't done in a long time, but then they got Heritage Hall the following week. So I can see where it gets personal. I can see where you're fighting for your school and all that good stuff. But for like the OSSA, it is a big, big picture. And it doesn't mean kids can't move into Stigler. It doesn't mean kids can't go to Heritage Hall. It doesn't mean kids can't move into. I'm always saying you can't go chasing. You can't be making up a whole bunch of rules.
Because and I'm going to use Mr. Robinson just because he's one of the best players in the state, and he's a great kid. Everything you hear about is wonderful. He's going to be. And so this isn't about him, but when he transferred to this gentleman's point, if he had went to McGinnis, they would have had to have taken him, Chris. They wouldn't have had a choice.
There is those arguments.
Or they would have turned him down, I should say. They would have turned him down because, they have the privilege of saying no. And I'm sure they would have said no to a 6'2", 225-pound Division I running back, right? Yeah. They would have said no to that, right, Ronnie?
No, they wouldn't have.
They wouldn't.
And maybe private schools can make concessions a little bit easier than public schools as far as you can work your tuition off.
Yeah, but
if you want to go to a school, especially going into, if you're an 8th grader going into high school,
it's easy.
It is easy. And just with the transfer within districts, you talk about Edmond schools, and Mid-Dale is the perfect example. You can literally, if I'm Dale City High School, I can literally right there and go to Carl Albert High School if I pick that my freshman year.
Dale City schools have a bigger advantage than any private school in the state of Oklahoma.
There's an argument for that.
And listen, I have nothing but respect for Carl Albert. I think they're nothing but respect. So I'm not attacking Carl Albert for taking these kids. I'm talking about this argument that he's making, for me, is stupid. To sit there and say, well, the poor public schools, they have to take the kids. Really?
Well, private schools, I think there are special needs kids, but they can turn them down if the private schools wanted to, I guess is what they're saying, and they can control their enrollment.
I understand what they're saying.
But also don't forget, there's that rule that you say that bumps you up. If you get so many state championships or whatever, you have to bump up in a class.
We could do what Texas does, and I just talked to a retired Division I football coach this morning and won state titles in 2 states in high school football in his career. In Texas, if you transfer, you sit out a year. It doesn't matter what the situation is. Doesn't matter why you moved. Doesn't matter. You sit for 1 year. So we could do that for everybody.
Well, I think that's a rule. If you don't move into
if they move in Texas,
if they move in,
they sit for a year.
Okay.
They lose a year.
Yeah.
So we can do something like that. Is that what we want? That way when kids are, God forbid, get put in the foster care system, or if there's horrible hardship situations, we can just say, sorry, tough. You got to set a year, because that's more fair.
Mom, dad gets a new job.
You get a job and you have to move. Well, sorry, Jimmy, you got to set a year.
Yeah.
It's just, I don't care. And I'd like to see the list of how many superintendents thanked him for doing this.
Yeah, he just named the one from.
He names 1 or 2.
2. Stroud and.
But he's got
Stigler.
Evidently he has this long list.
Well, and there are others out there, especially a lot of them in 3A that are maybe would like to have into something besides the OSSAA. I think it's.
So who's that going to be?
I know. I'm just telling you that's why the OSA has such a hard time. It's always something like this, and again, this has been brought up before. OSA goes. Let's just say, you know what, you're right. So then the private schools file suit against you. Then it's in the courts, and then so no matter what and they're obviously right in the middle of it. But
I want my legislators worrying about jobs in Oklahoma and
no kidding,
and
free and fair elections. There's all kinds of stuff we can worry about instead of this.
But we're worried about because they're always going to say, well, we're not just talking about athletes. Yes, you are.
No, that's all you're talking. You are. That's all you're talking about.
You're talking about athletes. You can put all the lipstick on the pig you want to. This is my opinion, Phil Nichols, and that's what this is. It's just a guy who's mad at the OSSAA for whatever reason.
Or maybe mad at the situation.
Mad at a situation. And has decided he's going to, it's ridiculous. It's absolutely ridiculous. And I'm a public school guy. You guys know this. I'm so it's not like I'm a private school dad that's saying this stuff. Yeah. Every one of my kids graduated from a public school. I was a public school kid, but the real answer is get better and beat them. Beat them on the field. Beat them on the field.
Yeah, if you're, like Stigler, you have this great football team that comes around every 10 years. Well, it might be just a normal year for Heritage Hall. It might be just a normal year for Hall because they're always going to be because kids are always going to go in there.
But kids still have to do the work.
Sure. Yep.
When they show up at these private schools, or I'll say this about Carl Albert, because that's where most of the kids choose to go between Dell City, Midwest City, and CA.
And a lot of the sports.
Swimming,
not just football. Cheerleading.
Right. Baseball, doesn't matter. Basketball. Those kids, when they show up, they still go out and bust their tails every day and put in the work just like every other kid in the state of Oklahoma. So it's not like, well, it's not fair because they just show up and they don't have to, and then they just win.
Well, Broken Arrow
come on,
has 3.5, 4 times more students than, say, like Bixby. You still got to go. I mean, you can have all the kids, you can have all the stuff.
Got to go do the work. You got to figure it out.
Coaches, you got to have the kids to put in the work. I mean,
I have a hard time, where he loses me is when you start talking about what's fair and what isn't fair. So then he's picking winners and losers. He's wanting the OSA to pick winners and losers. It's just.
He said, quote, "It should be everyone's goal to ensure competition is held at an equal level."
It's not. No.
Everything's not equal.
No.
Yeah.
In life, everything isn't equal.
What kind of life lessons we teaching these kids now?
I mean, I wish I had hair.
He also says, quote, historically, there are many more private schools that make the quarterfinals, semifinals, and finals in basketball and football than public schools. The goal of this bill is to help organize a playoff system that was more individualized and fair to all students.
He's absolutely right. In 3A, there's more private schools.
Most of them are there, yeah.
Most of them are there. In 6A, was it a private school or a public school that won state this year?
Well, I think there's only one.
That's fine, but let's go down the list. 6A, it's public. 6A2, public. 5A, public. 4A.
Are we talking about finals here?
Yeah, in the state championships.
4A is Wagner-Cushing.
Public. 3A, private.
Yep.
Right?
You're right.
2A.
Public.
Public.
Fairview Gore.
Public.
Laverne and
public. So seems pretty fair. I mean, so what we really have here is a 3A problem. That's what we really have here.
That's where 2A, 3A is probably
that's where we have here.
That's in football.
Correct.
That's in football.
Correct. I mean, listen, Guthrie, where we're from, Coach Clay Tarter, God rest his soul, would have 1 million more cross country and track titles than the ones he's already. He won a ton, but he would have had 20-some.
3 times more.
Yeah, 3 times more state titles. But Coach Tarter told his kids, go work harder.
Yeah.
That was the solution. Go work harder.
It sticks out more if I know football is the numbers and basketball is the numbers and all that stuff, but it really sticks out more in your not necessarily your swimming, but they're good because Carl Albert's good. Evan North is good at swimming, but like your tennis. I mean,
sure.
that one sticks out to me a little bit.
I get it.
Maybe golf every now and then.
I get it.
But Edmund Worth is not a private golf team.
But there's been a lot of years out there.
And they have a benefit. That's not equal. I mean, Edmund North has Oak Tree they can go practice on if they want. If the right person's in line, they can go practice.
No doubt.
That's not. So do you have to bring in kids from Cleveland, Oklahoma to go play to keep it equal?
Well, it's got to be fair, Chris.
So it's.
Piedmont. Piedmont's a private school too, right? Because they dominated in cross country. They must be private.
Yeah.
Because it's an unfair advantage.
Yeah,
it's laughable.
Yeah. So anyway.
Did I do a good job staying quiet?
Yes, you did a great job.
So, all right. One more subject on this segment before we wrap up and get ready for a little bit of winter sports talk here in our next segment. UCO hosting the state football championships. This was their 3rd year in a row to that. It was the first time, I guess, 2019. No, 2020. Was that right? Yeah, 2022. Yeah, 2020. It was a 1-year deal for UCO to host. Then they got a 2-year deal. That ended this year. So now the OSSAA is looking to strike a 5-year deal. And we've talked about this on the show before, but UCO is expected to put in another bid for them. But maybe Union might be putting in a bid. Maybe Tulsa University might be putting in the bid. But I thought Jenny Carlson for the Oklahoma did a good job of writing the column, and she was able to talk to members of the Oklahoma Coaches Association, and they absolutely love UCO. And if they had a choice, that would be their choice.
Well, and I think ultimately the coaches – I mean, the OSA is going to try to accommodate what coaches request.
Yep.
They are, because it's after all, it's their association, right? It's their deal. I don't have a problem. Let me break this down real quick. I have no problem if Tulsa University wants to submit a bid. I have a huge problem if Union wants to submit a bid.
Yeah.
And the reason I have a huge problem for that is then in 6A is Union now saying, well, we're not ever going to make a state final again in football, guys. So, so we don't have to worry about the neutral field discussion. So what are we going to do? Move the 6A one game for one game to a different facility to accommodate Union?
Or does Union get to play a state championship game on Union?
Union will have a
Union
championship
Field.
game on Union Field.
Does Jinx want that going into?
Yeah.
I mean, so
for 5 years.
so now it's not an important. It's not a neutral field.
Yeah.
Not to mention UCO is as close to center of the state as we can humanly get. The Fairview and Gore game, they were almost within a couple miles of the same distance they drove to get to UCO.
Yeah, I think one was 116, one was 140.
Whatever, right.
When one's in Eastern and one's in Western Oklahoma, that's pretty darn good.
It's pretty darn good. And then I'll say this, UCO has, due to a very generous donation from Chad Richardson, has the upgrades at UCO are ridiculous.
They have a waterfall.
That costs more than our homes, my point is UCO's earned. They have done their part. The support staff there is before the games last Saturday. It was raining, and they had staff down wiping all the seats down,
like you would at a pro stadium.
Like you would at a pro stadium.
Yeah.
Facilities are unbelievable. The support up top with production and just making it a quality production are second to none.
Yep. Well,
I mean, it's
well,
to me,
Justin
it's a
Jones, I think he's the big dog of the Oklahoma Football Coaches Association. And he said, for us, we've heard very few complaints, but a whole lot of resounding positives for us being there.
Yeah, and I don't foresee UCO, if they submit a bid, and I don't know of any reason why they wouldn't, I don't see any way it doesn't go back to UCO.
No, yeah, there's UCO, like I said, it's a good location for everybody. And again, the support around it, you got the athletes that help you clean down the chairs for you. They're running security. I mean, they're just doing all kinds of things. And again, it's state-of-the-art facilities that they've improved. And matter of fact, I believe today or yesterday they started working on a brand new scoreboard out there at Chad Richardson Stadium. So I mean, they're making improvements. And again, everything I've heard, even from talking to the superintendent, it's even all the coaches, even on Tulsa's side, are saying, "Yeah, that's a pretty nice facility. That's a good place to have it."
If anybody's complaining about the facilities at UCO, they're being disingenuous.
Yeah. And don't forget, Clinton came to UCO. Was that right? No, never mind. That's a different thing. That was last year.
Well, and just in Jenny's column, and it's some things that we've already brought up in this segment and previous shows, but Jones, the executive director of the Coaches Association, said the coaches who he's talked to over the past few years have one predetermined site for all games. They want to continue that. Remember, we're adding 3 games next year. I think it's next year or is it the year before. I can't remember. But almost as they all like the 11-man talk games being in one location. They like the destination being UCO. One reason, location. Quote, it's centrally located. No matter whether it's a Tulsa team or a Southern team or a Northwestern Oklahoma team, it's really kind of an equal drive for everybody.
Yeah.
And this is Jones putting it that way. She says putting the games in Tulsa, for example, would be nice for teams like Bixby and Owasso. What about Fairview, Clinton, Marlow, Ringling, who have been in the title games over the last several years? That makes it. They've had teams make it to the finals past couple of years, and going to Tulsa would be a haul for them. And remember, these are schools that regularly play 2 or 3 hours from home. Right. Justin Jones said, "How do you make that equitable? You put it in the middle of the state, and everybody goes about the same drive."
Yeah.
The other one we mentioned here, the stadium.
Yeah.
A $10 million renovation last year. The biggest complaint was seating.
Yep.
That was taken care of. There was plenty of seats for everybody. Yep. And remember, it was Bixby and Jinx that played at Broken Arrow, and there was thousands of seats still open for that one.
Thousands.
And that was played in Tulsa.
Yeah.
Now, if it was held in Tulsa, which it still might, who knows?
Yeah.
But with the 6A1, 6A2 games, 6A1, would it be more attendant? Probably, but you're looking at a whole.
Correct.
And the football coaches want it in one location. So,
and that's going to be the contract too. It's not pick and choose. It's if you win the bid, you got 5 years in it. You have to host all games, so you don't get to say no. We're not hosting this one. It's all games. Is that correct?
Yeah.
That's what it is. You can't pick and choose what you want.
Right.
Amenities was another factor. Again, we've talked about that, but just kind of backing up with this column there. So, yeah, like we kind of hit the keys before.
Yeah, I think and the reality is this too. UCO's has earned it. They've earned it.
They have shown
they've shown the ability. They've put the work in. They've made the investment.
And this is getting the locker rooms ready, accommodating buses when they start parking, concessions, security. I mean, there's a security guy, security
everywhere
person up in the press box.
Yeah.
With Phil there, you never know what happens on a given
2024,
Friday night.
that should go away. So,
well, there's another reason why we can't go to Tulsa either, Tulsa County.
Warrants, no big deal.
But anyway, so we'll see how that. I think the OSSA starts taking a look at that in January and taking bids. So it'll be interesting to see who puts that in. And if you're Tulsa, you understand why you want to put a bid. I mean, you put $35 million into a football stadium.
I had a reporter from the Tulsa side 2 weeks ago said, because I said, well, I think it's great here. And he goes, well, where do you live? And I said, oh, we're a smooth 15, 20-minute drive from here.
Yeah.
And he goes, oh, like that. And I said, now, brother, we drive to Guyman. We drive to Lawton.
Elgin.
We drive to Elgin. We're not
Grove.
Grove. We're not scared to load our stuff and head out.
Yeah.
That has nothing to do with it. I mean, because even if it went to Tulsa, I'd still be happy because it's one place.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
But so that has nothing to do with it. From my perspective, it has to do with what's right for the kids, what's right for the fans.
As a matter of fact, we like to travel. We have a good time. So it's
especially when there's revivals along the way.
Yeah, they would. It would.
Yeah, I mean, it's the most fair option that we have, and on top of that, they do a great job at UCO.
I guarantee if you tell Lauren Montgomery, hey, you can either. There's a state championship game in Idabel, Oklahoma. Do you want to go play in Idabel, or do you not want to make the finals? I think you'd say, oh, we'll go to Idabel.
Well, I think Idabel's good. Yeah. What time do you need us there?
So I think it might be just a small group of people that are happy. Who knows? Maybe it's more than I think. It could be.
I don't think so.
I just wouldn't like the uncertainty on the production side of things. We know what we're going to get when you're at UCO. If it's somewhere else, oh boy.
Selfishly looking at it.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. Yeah, it's just because it's so important because there's so many of those kids whose parents or grandma or grandpa can't make it
Aunts,
for whatever reason, they're out of state or whatever happened. And those productions are a big deal, and I think this year was about as good as it could be, when you agree.
Yeah, because I can tell you, this isn't a slam against Union, but to Ronnie's point,
we had 6 cameras.
The quality would go down on production side.
Could, yeah. I don't know. I would certainly hope with Union's part of their $35 million package. I don't want to get into the production geeky part of it because trust me, the production part is not what they're going to be considering when they take bids.
Nor should they. They should be focused on what's right for the coaches and for the kids first, and then I think the fans next. In my opinion, the student body, the fans, that's what they should be looking at. And I think when you look at all those, if you're being fair, it's an easy decision.
Yep. Central located. Yeah. Everyone gets to play at one site.
Yep.
And the coaches love it.
Yeah.
I mean, that second floor it was packed full of coaches. And they can tell you how they were able to stop the XYZ for technique back when they did it, and so they they can do that other places too.
So let me ask you: so if there's a bid, does the bid automatically go to the highest bidder, or does the OSSA or whoever is in charge get to decide which bid wins?
I
think they consider all factors.
I think they consider all factors. I know, like in government, the lowest is not necessarily the best.
Correct, and they don't have to take the lowest.
Don't have to take the lowest. I mean,
that's typically how it works. But I don't know what the rule is on this. But,
I don't know either.
But I think even if that's the case, I think UCO would put a pretty competitive bid out there.
Chad Richardson.
They have a pretty nice checkbook.
So it does have one little backing.
One little backer.
One call away.
They may want more people coming to the stadium named after him.
Yes. All right. So we're going to take our final time out here on the High School Huddle. When we come back, we'll take a little bit look at some winter sports. Basketball and wrestling are here. swimming as well. I don't have a lot of swimming notes with me right now. Maybe next show. But we can take a look at the early rankings that are out on that good stuff. So take our phone time out. This is the High School Huddle.
At Generations Church, we exist to love God, love people, and serve both well. We're a multi-generational, multicultural church that believes in being a light to our city and our region. At Generations, we don't believe that church can be put in a box. We're a church that accepts all people from all walks of life, young, old, rich, and poor, and you will feel welcome at Generations. Join us at 10 a.m. every Sunday at 2524 West Noble in Guthrie, America. You can also join us at generationsguthrie.online.church.
Hey, you in the third row. Yes, you. When was your last dental checkup? Dr. Lewis Turney and his staff provide dental care in a fun, relaxing environment. Still not convinced? Prefer to sleep through your appointment? No problem. We can do that too. Our staff can ensure you have a relaxing experience no matter what. Got kids? Hey, so do we. Come see what all the moms are talking about. Our kid-friendly staff loves to provide care to even the tiniest of teeth. Give us a call today. We've got the whole family covered.
Give Dr. Lewis Turney a call at 282-7600.
Today I'm sharing Golden Chick with the world. Are you ready to taste Golden Chick for the first time? 100% tenderloin, that's where the golden tenders come from. Marinated for 24 hours. It is amazing. And we also got the rolls, made fresh.
It feels like they were just baked.
You know why it feels that way? They were.
Every time I go, I like to get extra rolls, so I love it.
We are being kind of photobombed right now by the one and only Clucky. Have you met Clucky the chicken? Don't get too starstruck. He's just a regular guy. One taste, and you're golden. He's on Tender. That's like a chicken dating app.
Sometimes you need immediate care and can't get in to see your doctor during regular hours. With Mercy Convenient Care in Guthrie, you can walk in without an appointment and get the medical attention you need at a lower cost and with shorter waiting time than your local emergency room. The Mercy Convenient Care is located at 2919 South Division. For any concerns, call 405-282-6301. Services are provided by Mercy Hospital, Logan County. Choose Guthrie. Choose Mercy. Aspen Roofing is a family-owned roofing company with more than 20 years of experience and achievements across Oklahoma. Aspen Roofing takes pride in the personal service we provide on each job, and we strive to maintain the highest level of quality while offering our customers a reasonable price. It is our commitment to help you understand the process of getting a new roof from start to finish. Call Robbie Hudson for a free roofing estimate at 405-562-0026.
Exxon was founded by two combat-proven veterans to help businesses grow from mediocre to exceptional. We know from experience that your culture and trust throughout the organization drive superior performance. Most business owners focus on the urgent rather than the important. They are just struggling to survive. The team at Exxon helps owners identify challenges, build solutions, and focus on growth. Do you trust your team? Does your team trust you? If not, we can help. We are Exxon.
Welcome back to the High School Huddle, presented by Generations Church.
Final segment here on the High School Huddle. Appreciate you checking us out live here on December 14th. If not, catching the replay, appreciate it as always. A couple segments of football and fall sports as they come to an end. We now head to winter sports, which is quickly underway with basketball, wrestling, duels, all that good stuff. Tuttle, once again, good in wrestling.
Are they good?
I think they might have a chance in 4A this year.
Well, I mean, they're going to have to work for it.
Yeah, they're going to have to.
Public school, right?
Public school.
Oh, yeah. They are a public schools. But Tuttle, big favorites in 4A. Cassia Hall will be a player in 4A.
Yep.
Cushing, Heritage Hall, Wagner, the familiar faces, and always fun time to get to the state wrestling tournament. The dual state tournament for wrestling, once again, will be in Enid this year. 5A, you can always, big news with wrestling, Collinsville got a new head coach this year. The other coach went back home to Fort Hays, Kansas.
Yep.
So
it's hard to leave Kansas.
Yeah. You did it pretty easily.
I didn't have a choice.
Oh, yeah, that's true. But he leaves. A lot of kids leave. But Collinsville's still going to be good. But I think Guthrie finished second at the wrestling duel and also second at the state championships. Guthrie will have a chance going for it. El Reno will have a chance at going after Collinsville State Championship
Good to
as
see
well.
them back, El Reno.
Yeah, and of course, Coweta, Carl Albert, and your other Elgin. Their coach was Coach of the Year last year, although I thought Jaden Davenport of Guthrie earned that by finishing second and both terms behind Collinsville, but I think it's more something else, Coaches Association thing.
The word you're looking for is popularity.
Popularity, is that right? So Jaden Davenport should be the for what he did last year.
He's our Coach of the Year.
Yeah, that's taking the bias out. I thought he should have got that last year, but nonetheless, he can care less about that, I'm sure. And of course, 6A. Stillwater, Edmond North, Bixby, Broken Arrow, Yukon, Westmore, Choctaw, Ponca City, maybe on the outside, and they're usually a good powerhouse. But always fun. Bedlam Wrestling Duel was on this weekend, and that was OU hadn't won since 2013, and that
Still
continues. They jumped out to the lead, and then got pinned in the last match.
The kid that transferred from OSU to OU got pinned in 35 seconds.
It was a setup.
Espionage.
Yeah. And the thing about that duel is that the matches that Oklahoma won, they barely won. They won in overtime, but the ones OSU won, they won majority. Yeah. They won. That's how they got more points, and then of course the pin at the very end, and then both teams going at it afterwards. After he got pinned, it was great, man. It was awesome. It was so fun.
And I know this last go. I will say this: OSU is now closer to OU than OSU is to Penn State.
They are,
and that's not good on the national scene. That's
not
good. I think they're 12th in the nation, but
we don't want to talk about that, Chris.
All right. And real quickly, speaking of which, Class 3A, Blackwell, number 1 team, Marlowe, Jay, Salina. You got to keep going down to 7 to get to Perry, 1 and 2 in
really?
duels. And, they haven't had the strongest last couple of years, so it'll be interesting to see how that goes.
Well, it's because, public schools have to take kids.
Yeah. And don't forget, girls are out there wrestling now. Mm-hmm. And Union projected the number 1 team right now, Bixby and Moore. This is kind of talk about unfair almost, but you have like little acts. I mean, it's one class. There's not. There's. I guess we call 6A. There's not 6A, 5A, 4A in girls wrestling. It's just starting and it's taken off. It's one of the most popular, one of the most fastest growing sports in the nation in girls wrestling. But you have like Union, Bixby. It's kind of like slow pitch softball. You have like Union, Bixby, Washington, Little Axe, all in one class. And so Union girls favored in 6A or in girls wrestling, Bixby, Moore, Broken Arrow, your big schools. Jay, the smallest school in the top 5 behind though. And Guthrie, they are 12 and they won the El Reno Invitational.
Just won it. Yep, sure did.
Not last weekend over. No, that was in Kingfisher. I apologize.
Kingfisher.
So it's fun to watch that sport, and it's fun to watch those girls compete at the state championships. That was it last year, the first year or second year of sanctioned sport for them. So.
And you see the girls. I mean, my kids wrestle here in town, and there's a lot of girls who wrestle for that club. And then we went to a tournament last week, and Matt's filled with girls. Going against boys. I mean, it was just they have girls divisions now in these small these youngsters going at it. So it's very, very fun. It's really cool to watch.
Yep.
Boys basketball, Edmond North, number 1 team. Of course, these are coaches' rankings. These aren't newspapers or anything.
Right.
These are actual coaches voting. Edmond North 7-1. Boys and girls state champions a year ago, so no doubt the number 1 there. Broken Arrow, Pump City North, Pump City West, Booker T, Washington. 6A boys, 5A boys. Carl Albert, Memorial, Dale City, Southeast. The same teams over and over as of late. El Reno, Piedmont in the top 10. 4A basketball, Kingfisher. They're 3-0. They continue in. I forget how many games they've won in a row at home, but it's quite a bit up there. But 4A, that's when you get into Kingfisher. Crossings Christian's now a 4A school. I think they got bumped up. I think they were in 2A not too long ago. But Weatherford, Holland Hall, Douglas, Newcastle, Heritage Hall. 3A, Millwood, number 1 team. They're off to a 2-4 record, but they always play that tough schedule, and they will be a good team to play with. But Prague in the top at number 3. Alva, number 7. Good to see some of those schools there. Class 2A basketball, boys, Dale, number 1. Of course, we saw them last year win the state championship. They are 10-0.
They're good.
And they had no seniors on the starting five.
They're going to be back again.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
So
they're fun to watch.
They're 10-0 right now. We'll see how many losses they have going into the state tournament. And then,
zero.
Probably zero. Class A. No, they're playing the tournament champions.
Yeah, I mean, if they play Carl Albert or something,
they're playing the tournament champions. I think they get I want to say Edmond North or something like that.
Okay, so 1 to 2 losses.
1 to 2 losses.
Yeah, but if we're talking about just their class, they'll have zero in that class. Yeah, probably.
Caddo, Raton, top in Class A. Class B, Fort Cobb, Roxton, Roth, your normal teams there. And then we'll look at girls basketball real quick. We'll wrap it up here. Top 5 in 6A. Edmond North, defending state champions. They're off to a 6-0 start. Bixby 4-1 at number 2. Memorial at 3. Choctaw 4. Booker T. Washington at 5. Not very many undefeated teams left. In fact, Edmond North and Choctaw, I believe, are the only undefeated teams already. We're about 6 to 10 games into the season, so a lot of maybe parity there outside of number 1. 5A, Sapulpa, Carl Albert, always the East-West to see who gets to the finals there. Tahlequah, El Reno, Glenpool. Sapulpa and Carl Albert, by the way, still undefeated in girls basketball. 4A girls basketball, Bethany, Tuttle, Weatherford, Lincoln Christian, Holland Hall. Tuttle, good every single year. They got a new head coach, Brian Lester. Left that to go to the athletic director and then took the job at the OSSAA. So they got a first-year head coach over there. 3A, Ida Bell. They were in the championship game last year. Jones shut them out, or not shut them out, but got ahead early and won that one. But Ida Bell right now at number 1. Jones, 2-time defending state champions at number 3. Washington 4, Luther 5. I forgot to mention Bethel at number 2. 2A girls basketball, Dale, Picola, Amber Pasket, Howell, Preston. Class A, number 1, Sealing, Caddo 2, Riverside 3, Vanoss 4, Cyril 5. And Class B, Lomega, 9-0. Pittsburgh, number 2, Hammond, home of Ryan and Damon Miner, at number 3. Whitesboro 4, and the Varnum Whippets at number 5 with a 9-1 record.
Did you say Whippets?
The Whippets. So basketball, wrestling season underway.
Good times.
Swimming will be. I think that's the next state championship is swimming.
That's actually fun to do.
It is fun. It's fun to go out and watch. It is a cool deal. See if maybe we can get a camera down by the water.
Remember, you got to watch that one official. That one official.
Oh, the counter.
He's all in.
Yeah.
He's all in.
Yeah. Yeah. So
got to touch the wall, Ronnie.
All right. So this was an impactful show. I mean, it's the end of the season. We still went an hour and a half. I mean, we're talking football. We're talking politics. We're talking winter sports. It's Phil's records. You finally won one.
Well, it's the first year I tried.
First year you tried. Yeah. So congratulations to everyone. Congratulations. Phil.
Yeah. Oh, thank you.
Yeah. All right.
We're going to be picking basketball games?
Yeah. Who you got? Dell or Edmond North?
I'll probably go with Dell.
Boys or girls?
Boys.
Oh. Probably go North.
Edmond North.
Okay, yeah, them too.
Yeah. Okay. All right. That'll do it for the show. Appreciate you checking us out. Remember, you can always check us out on Facebook at the High School Huddle and also on YouTube at Second Banana Media. Subscribe, like, a lot of other podcasts on there as well. That'll do it. Appreciate you checking us out. For Ronnie Phillips and Nichols, I'm Chris Evans. We'll talk to you next time here on the High School Huddle.